Here we go again. Well, hey everybody, here we are again. It's your favorite dads, Digital Daddies, online fathers. You got any others?
Any others?
I'm trying to think of
no.
nicknames, but anyway, it's us. You know,
Hey,
it's those two dads that you come to and to learn and to laugh, and we decided to do this again. So here we are. Thanks for showing up. Oh, before I forget, we got a guy from Belgium.
yeah,
And this dude, I don't know who he is, but shout out to you, man.
yeah, man.
You know, I don't know how you found us, but you listen to every episode.
Everyone.
You know, right on, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah. Don't forget to share.
Yeah. Get some of your friends listening.
Yeah, maybe some of your friends want to listen too.
And then we can shout them out too.
Yeah. I mean, if you're our only listener in the entire country, like you get something.
You're definitely getting a shout out at least.
Yeah, which leads me into my next thing that I don't want to forget is how you can get in touch with us. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you know, I don't really pay a lot of attention to Apple, and that seems to be the only way that you can like leave reviews for our podcast.
I mean, you can rate on Spotify.
Well, yeah, but as far as like saying,
but like a comment or something.
So, you know, if you want to do more than just say that sucked or that was medium or whatever.
Right.
I don't even know why they have 2 and 4. Like, what the fuck is 2 and 4?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, you were almost good, but you were missing. What were you missing that made you a 4 instead of a 5? Our socials, yeah, you can get me at, I guess, just Facebook, maybe.
Yeah.
Cory Lewis, just look me up on Facebook. Send me a message. Say hey. Send merch. Information, your ideas and whatnot. I've been looking into that. I'm trying to talk to a printer now. They're not answering my emails. I'm going to have to go in there face to face, which I hate to do. I really, really hate to do that. I don't like face to face. But anyway, that's how you can get a hold of me. And I guess that's better than my email. I feel like that's like almost like giving out my real address.
Yeah, right.
So say hey if you want. Most of you are probably in my friends list, so it's not like you can't see me every single day if you want to. But if you don't happen to be, you know, there's how you get me. What about you, co-host?
You can look me up on Twitter. My name is Lieutenant Dan. It's at it's SH the number 4 D the number 0 W 1318. So that'd be Shadow 1318.
I forgot about Twitter. Let me see if I can remember my Twitter.
You'd pull it up honestly, but because I don't even look at it.
I'm on the wrong.
I don't look at that part of it.
Oh, okay. So get me on Twitter if you're a Twitter person instead. Yo Ricky Spanish, YO Ricky Spanish, and say hey. I don't do the Twitter a lot, but I got my notifications turned on. So I mean, you know, I'll at least see it if you know.
And at least that'll give me a purpose to use Twitter.
Yeah, like I'm really, really struggling.
Other than following the one podcast that we shall not shout out.
They'll get a shout out just as soon as they shout us out. You know, it'll be equal that way. Per capita, if you're per capita, we almost have the same amount of fame.
Yeah.
Meaning like a really broad definition of per capita. So as far as that's concerned, I think it'd be equal. You know, if they shouted us out, then we'll shout them out. It's gonna be hard to get them to do that when I would never ask. Like, can you imagine like how many people they're like, hey, can you shout us out?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they get it all the time.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast that I'm about to give up on. But they gave a shout out to like just somebody one of their friends made a podcast and they're like, hey, listen to this. And I was like, you motherfuckers, like just like, oh, your friend made a podcast. It may or may not be good, but I'm going to shout it out to my thousands of friends.
Right.
So now that podcast that may or may not be good is going to get a shit ton of followers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just need one of you to be like, oh, and by the way, I was listening to da-da-da.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be
oh my God.
That'd be great. But anyway, why don't you, when you listeners, start up your own podcast? I'm sure it would immediately be better than ours because it's just the way it goes with anything I'm involved in. And then when you get good, you lift us up. And then if like somehow we get good, then we'll lift you up.
Yeah.
And it'll just be like a cycle of lifting, it's like a circle jerk where nobody ever gets off, but we all edge all the time. It'll be great. So with that being said, we're going to move on into our fatherly question. And that may or may not be the same way it was last time. I wasn't in love with that. This is like something I reserve the right to change almost anything.
Right.
You know, the only thing that won't change at this point is the name.
Yeah.
We're married to the name.
Yeah, pretty much.
But beyond that, like, you know, I've got another song. It switch music.
Yeah.
So you better just strap in and be ready for a roller coaster.
Trey's in the upright position.
Yeah, we don't know. Like, there may be turbulence. Things change so fast around here. But what didn't change is that, you know, we're going to start out with our fatherly question. Let me see. Let me check my notes. Oh, yeah. So today, we're really playing off of last week with today. You know, as we said, last week's question, not really a question at all, which I don't know that any fatherly question is an actual question.
Yeah, it's more of a...
Yeah, we might have to change
more of a statement or something.
We might have to change the name entirely.
Yeah.
But it was about how there's an abundance of resources for moms and just a desert of resources for dads. And we mentioned that you know, that was a big enough conversation to branch off into other episodes, and that's what we've done. Today we're going to talk about a consequence of that, and it's going to be age specific, just because it sounded cool when we came up with the name, but it's called the Young Dad Blues. We've got a expert on the matter here with us in our co-host, Dan, who is himself a young dad.
Well.
And a young-ish dad.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to have a young dad on, but, you know, scheduling and personal issues and stuff, you know, these things. Maybe one day, though. Maybe one day, what I kind of hope for is that one day we will be having like dad experts on, like, you know, like dad psychiatrists, or, you know, like dad actors, or like, just because anybody that is just related to being a dad in some way, shape, or form. Like, you were in
just other dads in general.
Yeah, just other dads. Like, not someone that's going to be here week after week after week, but they are here as a guest.
Yeah.
And they give their
side of it,
their side of whatever we're talking about, and then we move on to the next. And you know, basically, me and you are like the only people that stick around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Young Dad Blues. And since you're younger than I am, I'm going to let you go ahead and start with that.
Yeah, I could see where it could be where you get kind of sad and depressed a little bit, because your entire world's changing and you have to adapt. And we as humans, more often than not, hate change. Having a child is a very big change. You have to adjust to it. You don't lose your freedom, but you have to pick and choose now when to do things and when not to do things, and you have to be more mindful of your home and taking care of the kid. I think, I mean, I had to, not that I was out doing a bunch of crazy stuff, but I couldn't just up and leave when I wanted to. Even now, which you get to where it's just, you get to where it doesn't matter anymore. Now you figure out where you can do things. And honestly, I try to do things more as a group, or take our daughter. Like the other day, we went to the McDonald's so she could play in the playhouse and do like family stuff like that. And we take her to, you know, like Waffle House and for dinner sometimes, and we'll take her out other places just to get out as a family. And that's more of where I'm at now. My mindset is more family, family, family. That's just a change you kind of have to make when you have a kid, if you're going to be there and be involved with it.
Yeah,
But it can be overwhelming. That's what I'm getting at, is it can be overwhelming for a young, especially someone 20, 25 years old. Their whole world. I was a little bit older. I was in my 30s when I was 30 years old when my daughter was born. So I was getting older, but somebody super young.
Yeah, but a young guy
that has the world by the butt and stuff. He thinks, and then all of a sudden, bam, he's got to stay home and change diapers and take care of the kid. And that's a big shock to, especially somebody younger.
Yeah, like they just turned 18 or whatever, 20, 21, and, you know, they got like their whole world in front of them.
Right.
And then bang, their whole world is now in the shape of a child.
Yeah. And they're not even really, I mean, some of them maybe are mature faster than, you know, but those kids aren't ready. You're never truly ready for kids, but I feel the older you get, the more ready you are. And like you said, somebody at 18, 19, or 17, 16 now sometimes, that you're definitely not ready for that responsibility. You haven't even started to take care of yourself yet, like on your own.
Yeah, you could become ready.
Yeah.
But you are not ready when it happens.
No. But yeah, it's definitely a world changer.
I feel for young dads because I only look at it from my point of view. I had my son spectacularly late in life because for the longest time I was just not going to have kids.
Right.
My pets were my kids, and that was fine. And the pandemic hit, or was about to hit, or something like the world was basically ending. And for some reason, my thought was, well, I need to bring another life into the world so that I don't suffer alone. I guess I don't know. And I say that, and I'm thinking of the guy from Belgium, and I'm like, man, I bet his life is so much better than mine. Like Belgium is like always at the top of the happiest country list. But anyway, live free. We got that, I guess. I feel free. I mean, I've never had anybody tell me I can't do anything I wanted to do, really. I've driven drunk, and the cop was like, why are you driving so fast? And I was like, I'm just showing off. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to ignore that huge bong in the back seat and the fact that you're slurring your words. You go on home.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, America's free for me, but I'm a straight white man. So
True.
That's why it's free for me. I've gotten off topic again. I'm going to, next time, maybe this time, I'm going to have something that's like, a tangent warning because we can go off on some.
Yeah.
And I've read that people sometimes they don't want you to go off on tangents. They want you to just talk about what you're supposed to talk about. And that's always been a bit of a problem with this podcast in particular. So yeah, I should either stop going on tangents or I should keep the humor or increase the humor so that when we do go on tangents that they don't mind as much. Anyway, yeah, so I had it late because I didn't think I was going to have one at all, and when I did have one, I think that it really helped me to have those extra years. When my son will cry or pout or throw tantrums for virtually no reason at all, it's not hugely stressful for me. Like
right.
you see on TV where the parent is just crying because they're having such a hard time dealing with the kid.
Yeah.
And that's never an issue for me. He will cry because he can't go in the bedroom, or he will cry because I won't let him in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
Right.
I just don't care. I don't stress about that. And the only thing that really does get me is when we go to restaurants. We go out to eat and he is freaking out for no reason that I can fix.
Yeah.
That is an issue.
Yeah, because everybody's staring at you.
Yeah.
Kind of embarrassing, but
and that may tie back in too with a lot of young dads. You as a young man, you're insecure in who you are.
Yep.
You're maybe not as confident, and if a child freaks out on you at the restaurant, then you're maybe just mentally incapable of dealing with it yet.
Yeah.
And whatever you would call the right way. I don't know what the right way is. Don't come here for the right way.
No.
This is not where we teach you the right way.
Our way.
Yeah, this is our way and what we've done. And in some segments, it's what we would do.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the right way.
No.
If you want the right way, well, I can't point you to the right way because I would probably I'd be watching it or reading it or whatever, listening to it. The right way is just to do it with all the best intentions.
Right. For the young dads, though, even us, if we need it, there is help out there. It's not like it's not. There is. I think more of the problem is that us as men are almost too prideful to look. To be honest, like I think that's the bigger issue. I mean, like it said, there is help. It's just you got to look for it. You can't just it's not going to come to you and be like, oh hey, I'm here to help. Like bam. Because the world doesn't care. Like,
and even then, like the help is not going to be just an answer.
No, it's going to be a process, and I think the bigger problem is us as men. We don't think about it, or we were not trained to not think about it. But that's just the mindset of most men. Like, oh, we have to be tough, and we have to just push through it. And there isn't anything out there, but actually there is. It's just we don't. I mean, I haven't taken the time really to really dig in and look. I mean, I've done a quick Google search.
If you were to ask me like, hey, what's a resource for men? I wouldn't be able to tell you like off the top of my head.
Yeah, and some of them are like, they cross, like if you want to go to therapy, like it's not just for women. It's both for both they'll give a man just therapy just like they will a woman. A lot of them kind of cross over. Yeah, I think just us as men are kind of stubborn and don't look, and until it's either too late or we just don't realize it's actually out there because we won't look.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I am the type of person that, and I will say it out loud, and it will sound stupid when what I'm about to say, but this is the way it is. I expect myself to learn. I expect myself to just pick it up without like I'm supposed to be some kind of expert right away. And when I'm not if, but when I'm not, and when I'm bad at, whatever it is, it's all my fault.
Is that just something you create in your head?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
not to be mean or anything, but is that from like anybody outside pressure, or is that
No,
just from
no. This is
pressures
all.
of
Yeah,
your
this is all just
mind?
something I built up.
Okay.
Uh,
I see where you're coming from.
I don't think that, like when something goes wrong, I don't think, oh man, I should have checked a book first or, checked with another dad or
Yeah.
whatever. Oh, you did that wrong. Why'd you fuck up?
Yeah.
I'm sure, being emotionally stunted as I am, I'm sure that that's the way it is with a lot of younger guys. They don't even think about asking for help. They just think, well, I'm a man and men have been dads forever
Yep.
and I should pick this up. Why am I not picking this up?
Yeah.
I also know from personal experience that when things start to turn dark as far as your mood, it doesn't take very much to push it on down into a hole.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Because your son or daughter, they don't care. They don't know that you're having a hard time, and they're not going to
Uh,
change any behavior.
well,
After a certain point, yeah, they
yeah.
will. I'm speaking directly for younger children.
Well, yeah.
As far as their behavior, it's not going to change based on how sad or happy you are.
Right.
When the baby was born, I had a really hard time with him not seeming to be as happy with me as he was with my wife, and I'm not going to get into that because we have that saved for a different topic. But I say that to
I had the same problem too, by the way.
yeah, I say that only to explain that I had a lot of, I guess, male postpartum depression,
Yep.
and I'm over it now, thankfully.
Yep.
But it was tough there at times, and once again with young dads, it can only be that much tougher because I remember when I was young, I thought that simply by being as a 20-year-old or 25 or what have you, I was like, I'm younger than that dad over there that's 35, and by that measure, I am also tougher than that dad over there. So
Which is completely the opposite now that you look back on
yeah,
it.
but I was, as a young dad, you would think, why can't I get this?
Yeah.
I'm younger, quicker, faster. This should be as easy or easier.
I can learn faster, quote
Yeah.
unquote, because I'm younger.
And because all those things are true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, parenting is something that you have to do.
Yeah.
Read all the books you want.
OJT, man, on the job training.
The odds are definitely stacked against the young dads. And there's no surprise. I don't think that I technically invented the phrase "young dad blues." I'm pretty sure that's a generally used term. It's probably a song or something.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it's so widespread, which is interesting because it's a widespread thing that it has as much impact as Santa Claus. Less so because every man knows or every dad knows that this is a problem for some people, but at the same time, every dad is like, it's not gonna happen to me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have that
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
I'm too tough.
Or my child won't be a problem or whatever. And then reality sets in, and it's hard to deal with, especially on your own. And I guess if we're gonna bring this topic to a close, this episode, then all we can really say is don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. There is help out there. You just got to look for it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as your buddy who's already been a dad for a while.
Yeah.
It could be. I'm not asking you to invade me.
Hell yeah.
Blow me up with your questions. But I mean, if you're a listener and you have a question, I mean, I guess you could hit me up on Facebook.
Mhm.
If you feel like that's really your best option, then feel free.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people have just people that they're not taking into account that they could turn to if they needed to.
Right.
There's a lot of people that I probably could go to for help if I needed to.
Oh yeah.
I don't consider them
Mm-hmm.
that type of person.
Yeah.
But you also have, as you were saying, you also have the stuff online, the therapy. When you're gonna have to dig.
Yeah.
Like the running joke is that there's just nothing for us, but you're gonna find something.
Oh yeah.
So don't get too discouraged. Just get on Google.
That's right. Yeah, that's the first step. You just have to look. You have to put in a little effort to look and
then maybe a little bit of effort to change something,
Yeah.
improve something.
yeah.
I'm not saying that that any particular person is like always lacking.
Yeah.
But sometimes maybe you got to work on some patience or work on
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I can't.
Yeah, whatever you're struggling with.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm not a therapist. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, this is your problem. But anyway, I feel like we've branched off from the main tree of what we talked about last week, and now we've got the Young Dad Blue branch, which is also going to have branches.
Right? It's just gonna, yeah.
So,
Oh well,
yeah, whatever.
that's how it goes.
Hopefully soon we'll have a forest. We'll have, the lack of resources tree. And then over here we'll have another tree that fell from today's topic's limb.
Right.
And then, so on and so
It
forth.
sprouted its own little tree.
Yeah. And that we will just be able to go back and forth as like a squirrel, picking from whatever topic we want to talk about. But to all good things, we do bring an end. And every end is but the beginning. And this beginning is our new cool, awesome music segment.
Ooh.
I've been dying to do something music.
Yeah, man, me too.
I want it to be rock related. What this wonderful idea that I've had, which I'm sure is going to be super easy to grasp. It only took me about a week to really wrap my head around it. I'm still not certain Dan completely has his head wrapped around it.
I think I got it.
When I explained it, I feel like I'm speaking in another language. Basically, what we're wondering is, has rock music in particular, changed from when we were kids until when our kids were born? Now, and when we were born versus when our kids were born. We feel like we have a somewhat decent spread. I was born in the 80s. Dan was born in the 90s.
90, yep.
And our kids were born...
the 2020s.
2020s, yeah. So we have a decent enough spread across time.
Yeah.
And what we've done is we've gone to each of our birth years and we've picked the number one, or as close as we can get to the number one rock song of that week's episode. So if you're still with us,
Yeah.
basically we're just ranking rock songs across the decades. And we're starting out with our birth year. And just to make it easier, in order to make us, or to give us something narrower to search from, we've picked that week, whatever we're recording. So you don't really need to know that, but there's everything. We don't hold any secrets here. We tell everything. We literally hold nothing back. Maybe it's a problem. I don't know. So anyways, I'll go first because I'm oldest. And I get the right to do what I want because I'm the elder. And I think that's how it goes. Anyway, the song that was number one, and we had planned this for... I was supposed to do this like last week or the week before, so don't write in and be like, what are you doing? That was not a number one song for that week. It was... Blah, 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 blah.
It's all we could find, man.
Yeah. Shut up, okay? Shut up. Just take it for what it is, as Axel said. Now, the number one song for the week I chose in 1982 was Centerfold by Jay Giles Band.
Oof.
And that's a classic. I'm not going to lie.
That is tough to beat.
It's not at all a banger. You're not going to get on the floor and throw up the horns or anything like that. The pit will not appear magically when Centerfold plays.
No.
But it's a good song.
Your foot will tap.
Yeah. Down. I'm already off. I've only heard it like once lately. And anyways, that's a good one. Now, what I have to put that up against the verses, so to speak, is from the year that my son was born, which was 2021. And the week that I picked was one of the, I guess maybe now, like, we don't have rock charts because rock's like lame,
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. But the highest rock song up the charts of that week was Monsters by All Time Low with, I think I said Black Bear. And
Never heard of them.
never heard of either one of them.
Nope.
I listened to the song and it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I would call a rock song.
No.
But at the same time, neither is Centerfold. So I'm not going to judge it by that. It really was not a rock song, I think, is my problem. It was more of a pop song.
Yeah.
And by that measure, I'm a little bit conflicted on how to judge. I guess you got to judge by the times. I say it's not a rock song. Billboard says it is. I think that more people listen to them. So
Yeah.
we're going to say it's a rock song.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're going to say that Centerfold is the winner.
Well, I mean, that would be my vote if I had a vote in this, but
Yeah, you're voting and I'm voting.
okay.
We're both going to say Centerfold.
Centerfold it is.
And if you disagree, feel free to write in. Please write in. It would be kind of cool to have something to read other than junk mail. I get so bored that I will go through my spam and just be like, oh, Viagra? Well, okay, but can we talk about something else too?
Right?
Like, what's your favorite baseball team?
Yeah.
That's how bored I am. That's why I try to make up so many podcasts, because I just don't want to have any spare time. So that's how things have progressed from 1982 until 2021, at least for the week of February, because this was in February. Having given my scientific treatise on the state of music, I throw the ball, I don't know, to my dear co-host. And what do you got over there on your side of the music charts?
On my side of the music charts. Well, I was born in 1990. My daughter was born in 2020. And for the week of March 3rd, or as close as I could get to March 3rd in 1990, it's kind of your crossroads with it's more of a pop song in my opinion, not so much a rock song, but it is a classic. I remember hearing it all the time. It was Black Velvet by Elena. I don't know how to say that because it's a weird spelling, but Alana Miles.
It's weird. Like, Centerfold has been out for decades.
Yeah.
But like, I immediately was like, oh, Black Velvet. I've heard that.
Oh yeah, everybody. I mean, you might not know who the person. I had to look up who the person was. Like, who is that, and make sure. But when I read Black Velvet, I was like, okay, is that the Black Velvet I think it is? And as soon as I pushed it on YouTube, it was like, I'm like, yep.
And I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm going to say that it is 100% true. And if not, look it up. But I think the song is about an older woman and a younger man.
I think so.
And that appeals to me. Well, I mean, I guess as I get older, the women have to get older too. So, but I'm not going to go down that tangent. I'm not going to go down that road. So yeah.
So that was Black Velvet in 1990 was on the week of March 3rd was number one. And in 2020, number one around that week was Inside Out by Five Finger Death Punch.
Wow.
Quite
a bit of difference. You've got a clear difference.
Oh yeah. I listened to both this week a little bit just to get I know both songs now that Inside Out I was a little fuzzy on because I don't know a lot of new. I like a lot of older Five Finger Death Punch and a little sprinkled with a little bit of new stuff, but that one I didn't know if I'd heard that, and as soon as the chorus came I was like, okay, yeah, I know this song. And to be honest, this might come as a surprise, but damn it, I'm voting for Black Velvet. You can't beat Black Velvet.
I mean, when that chorus kicks in and she's like, Black Velvet,
yeah,
that really does stick with you.
Yeah, it does.
Because as soon as you said the words,
because she goes from like sounding like deep and kind of sexy to not screaming, but her voice goes way up. It's so different. I mean,
I'm surprised that I can't you would think that obviously it was a one-hit wonder, but you would think that some that good, there would be something else.
Well, yeah.
I guess I'm not used to a lot of women one-hit wonders. So you're going with the oldies too.
Yeah.
Because at this point, 80s, 90s, that's both oldies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that falls right in line with what I think we've always said, at least personally, that music is not what it used to be.
No.
I'm not saying that there's not good music out there. I've got a lot of good bands in my Spotify playlist. But by and large, you had to have a lot more singing. You had to be Freddie Mercury, people like that. Like, I'm spacing on literally everybody else that was a good singer at the time. Those were good singers. David Lee Roth.
Yep.
I mean, these people, you can't fake that with some sort of backing track or something. And don't hold me quite as firmly to this, but even like the musicianship, I feel like was definitely more highly sought after, and respected, and what have you at the time. Like the guitarists, you don't say, oh yeah, this guy from All Time Low is my favorite guitarist of all time, unless you've just never heard any, Jimi Hendrix or Slash or anybody.
Randy Rhoads or
Yeah.
Zach Wilde or Eddie Van Halen.
That's the only reason you would say something like that.
Yeah.
I just, we're going to keep doing this, and we'll see how things tally up in the end. There's going to be some weeks where inevitably the new music will have to be better.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what things happen. We'll do it for a little while. If we get bored, we'll quit. And unless you guys just love it, then we'll see what happens there. But we will have a winner, I guess. Whenever we do decide to quit, we'll at least declare a winner. Because, that might be the day that we might, oh, God, I just can't do it again. Okay, count it up. Who wins?
Yep.
You'll know one way or the other definitively whether music was better in the 80s and 90s.
Or in the 2020s.
In the 2020s.
So that's what, 2, or are we counting that as 1? Because we both agree on the oldies.
We'll just, to save on math, we'll just put 1.
Okay.
So, because if we, I guess
1-0.
If we disagree, then we'll come up with something.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out at that point. I've checked and saw how long we've been playing, and as you may have suspected, we've come to a stopping point. I say every week, 25 minutes, 25 minutes. Never 25 minutes. In fact, one week I said, okay, we have to stop. It's been 30 minutes. And sure enough, we talked for about 10 more minutes.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's enough for today. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks a lot, because it really is.
Yeah, we're not just saying that.
Yeah, it is really surprising, how many listens we've got.
Yes. Just a short amount of time.
Yeah, okay, maybe there's only 20 of you. I don't know.
Still.
But you're listening to every single episode.
Yes.
And that is great. That is so cool.
And that means a lot, because we like the content of the first 4, but
yeah, like the fact that you're listening to those first at all.
Yeah.
I mean, the audio, I don't know how you do it. You must have, I don't know how you do it. I did all I could to fix it, and I learn every time I edit, because we all do this. This is this is a production team of 2. So everything we do, or everything you hear, is something from one of us.
Yeah.
And we both learn as we go.
Yep.
As you will also. You're going to learn as you go along with us and learn with us, and hopefully, this becomes your favorite podcast, and you just make everybody listen to it, and you subscribe on all their phones. And I mean, you're the dad, you're the head of the household. Just fucking do it. Just be hey, daughter, give me your phone. You're going to listen to this now.
It's a rule.
Yeah, it's cool, and you're going to like them. And she's going to be like, oh yeah, I want to marry that one. And you're going to be like, yeah, I know, I do too. And then, you're going to be like, son, listen to this too, and make all your friends, because you're the jock at school. And so make them all listen. And then, you know what? I might even give you a sticker. You'll definitely get a shirt. But I've had some pretty expensive stickers lately, so I tend to place more value on those all of a sudden. That being said, though, I want you guys to please, please, please share. All jokes aside, tell whoever you can, and share on whatever social you're on. And like I said, don't feel bashful about hitting us up.
Yeah.
You got Facebook, you got Twitter. I'm not going to let you write me a letter, because if there's 20 listeners, one of you's a fucking psycho.
Yep.
One of you wants to wear my skin. Just the way it is.
Yep.
The odds, that's how the odds go.
Yep.
So you can't find out where I live. But, hey, man, write me a letter. Drop me a dime, as they say.
Do they say that anymore?
I don't know, man. If they do, they say it in
different terms, mean something completely different.
These things change so fast. Really, the only things you can stick by are oh, that's cool. That's probably going to stick around for a while.
Yeah.
Or anything I say, because I say timeless things like far out and rad and groovy.
Digging it.
Yeah, things that everybody says.
Yeah.
So yeah, share the podcast.
Yes.
And rate us 5 stars. And if you,
or whatever you feel we deserve.
Yeah, you know what? I guess, man, if you feel we don't deserve 5 stars,
we want 5 stars, but hey.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you.
Honesty's the best policy.
I mean, if you do rate us 2 stars, though, say why.
Yeah.
Be like, they're 2 stars because there's too much profanity or whatever. I mean, that obviously you're not the fan that we're looking for. You probably shouldn't continue listening if you think that there's been too much profanity. If you're going to give us less than 5, give us some feedback.
Yeah.
And otherwise, thumbs up, 5 stars across the board. And if I ever see you, free hand jobs. And, once again, give us merchandise ideas. You know, if there's 15 of you, then, well, 15 of you are smarter than me. So you can come up with something creative that we can put on a shirt or what have you.
We got to get Parenthood Ship on a shirt.
Yeah, all we've got is Parenthood Ship.
Or a sticker.
I'm looking. We'll see what we can do. Surely there's something else. That one psycho out of the 20, man, he probably listens to our stuff like 2 or 3 times. So maybe he's got like some kind of cool idea. He could, write in and offer that.
Keep yourself where you're at.
Yeah, just stay in, wherever you are, and we'll interact from there and here. And with that being said, I'm Cory.
I'm Dan.
And we will check you later.